The Lakers just lost their top trade target, and the dominoes are falling faster than anyone expected. Welcome back to Lakers News Fan Report. I'm here to bring you every breaking development and insider movements surrounding our beloved purple and gold. And I need you to hear me out on this one because what's happening right now will completely reshape how this roster looks come playoff time. Stay with me through this entire breakdown because the alternative plan that's emerging might actually be better than the original target. January is when championship rosters get built. This is when general managers separate themselves, when smart moves turn good teams into great ones, and when one phone call can be the difference between a second-round exit and a finals appearance. The Lakers are sitting at 24-15, fifth in the Western Conference, right in that dangerous zone where you're competitive enough to believe but not deep enough to truly compete with the elite. And trust me, the organization knows it. They've been watching film, they've been analyzing matchups, and they've identified exactly where this roster needs upgrading. Let me paint the picture for you first, because understanding the context is absolutely critical. LeBron James is still performing at an incredibly high level, defying every expectation about what a player his age should be capable of. Anthony Davis, when healthy, remains one of the most dominant two-way forces in basketball. But here's the reality that nobody wants to admit out loud. This team lacks the depth necessary to survive a 7-game series against Denver, against Phoenix, against any of those Western Conference juggernauts that can throw 3 scoring threats at you every single night. You can't ride to superstars all the way to a championship anymore. Not in today's NBA where every contender has multiple all-star caliber players. So the Lakers have been active. Make no mistake about it. They've been evaluating the market, they've been identifying targets, and they've been preparing to make moves before that February 5th trade deadline. And they found someone, a player, who checked every box they were looking for. Athletic, versatile, capable of creating his own offense, young enough to fit the timeline, but experienced enough to contribute immediately. This wasn't some developmental project or some veteran ring chaser. This was a legitimate difference maker who could slot into the rotation and instantly elevate the team's ceiling. I'm talking about RJ Barrett, the 25-year-old forward who's been having an excellent season with the Toronto Raptors. Now I know some of you might be thinking, Barrett, really? But hear me out, because the numbers don't lie, and his fit with this Lakers roster made too much sense to ignore. Barrett is averaging 19.6 points per game this season, 5 rebounds, and nearly 4 assists. He's shooting efficiently, he's defending multiple positions, and he's doing it all while helping Toronto climb to 4th in the Eastern Conference. That's not just empty stats on a bad team, that's legitimate production on a winning squad. The Lakers' interest in Barrett wasn't just about his current numbers though. It was about what he represents stylistically and how he could complement LeBron and AD. Barrett can handle the ball and initiate offense, which takes pressure off LeBron. He can spot up and shoot when needed, which creates better spacing. He can attack closeouts and get to the rim, which adds another dimension to the offense. And defensively, he has the size and athleticism to guard wings, which is exactly what this team needs when matching up against players like Kevin Durant or Kawhi Leonard. On paper, bringing Barrett to Los Angeles made perfect sense for a championship push, but here's where things get complicated, and I need you to pay attention because this is where the story takes a sharp turn. The Lakers weren't the only team eyeing Barrett. The Dallas Mavericks, dealing with their own injury issues and roster concerns, have been very aggressive in their pursuit of upgrades, and according to multiple reports from credible NBA insiders, Dallas is now positioned to land Barrett in a trade with Toronto. The framework being discussed involves sending Barrett along with either Emmanuel Quickley or Jakob Poeltl to the Mavericks as part of a larger deal. Now let's be real about what this means for the Lakers. They just lost out on a player they clearly valued. A player who could have provided exactly the type of versatile wing play this roster desperately needs. Barrett signing a free-air, $107 million contract means he wasn't going to be cheap to acquire, but the Lakers were apparently willing to make it work. They saw him as someone who could help them win now, while still being young enough to factor into future plans. And now, because Dallas moved faster or offered more, that opportunity is gone. This stings, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Watching a target you've identified and pursued end up somewhere else is frustrating for any fan base, and it raises legitimate questions about the Lakers' approach to the trade market. Are they being aggressive enough? Are they willing to pay the necessary price to upgrade this roster? Can they compete with other teams who might be more desperate or more willing to part with assets? These are all fair concerns that deserve to be discussed openly and honestly. But here's where I want to shift your perspective, because losing out on Barrett doesn't mean the Lakers are sitting still. In fact, it might have forced them to consider an option that could actually end up being more beneficial in the long run. and this is where things get really interesting. So I need you to stay focused because the name I'm about to mention has serious potential to change everything about how this Lakers team operates. Jonathan Kuminga. Remember that name because he just became trade eligible, and according to NBA insider Sam Quinn, the Lakers have serious interest in acquiring the 23-year-old forward from Golden State. Now I can already hear some of you asking, why Kuminga? He's barely playing for the Warriors this season. His numbers are down. He's fallen out of Steve Kerr's rotation. On the surface, it might seem like a downgrade from pursuing Barrett, but let me explain why this could actually be a genius move by the Lakers. First, let's talk about what Kuminga brings when he's actually given minutes and opportunities. This is a player with elite athleticism, someone who can get up and down the floor, finish above the rim, and impact the game with his physical tools. The Lakers, for all their strengths, lack that explosive athletic presence that can change possessions with pure physical dominance. Kuminga provides exactly that. He's the type of player who can grab a defensive rebound and push the ball himself, who can attack closeouts with force, who can make plays in transition that very few players in the league are capable of. Second, consider the situation in Golden State. Kuminga hasn't been bad this season. He's been underutilized. He's averaging 11.8 points, 6.2 rebounds, and 2.6 assists. But those numbers don't tell the full story because he's playing limited minutes in a system that doesn't necessarily maximize his strengths. Steve Kerr has a specific style of play, one that emphasizes ball movement and shooting, and Kuminga's game is more about attacking downhill and using his athleticism. It's not a perfect fit, and that disconnect has led to decreased playing time. But imagine Kuminga in a Lakers uniform, playing alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Imagine him as the athletic finisher on LeBron's passes, the transition threat that can get easy buckets, the young energy guy who can play 35 minutes in a playoff game without wearing down. Imagine him guarding opposing forwards with his combination of size, length, and quickness. This isn't a player who can't contribute at a high level. This is a player who needs the right environment to thrive, and the Lakers, with their need for exactly what he provides, could be that perfect environment. Now let's talk about the potential trade framework, because this is where it gets really interesting from a roster construction standpoint. According to reporting, the Lakers would likely need to send out Rui Hachimura and Dalton Knecht to make the deal work financially. That's a significant price, don't get me wrong. Hachimura has been a solid contributor, a versatile forward who can shoot and defend. Knecht is a rookie who's shown flashes of potential. But when you're trying to win a championship with LeBron James still playing at an MVP level, you have to be willing to give up good players to get potentially great ones. Hachimura's three-point shooting is valuable, absolutely. He spaces the floor and can hit open shots when defenses collapse on LeBron or AD, but he's also somewhat limited as a ball handler and playmaker. He's more of a spot-up shooter than someone who can create his own offense consistently. Knecht is still developing and hasn't proven he can be a reliable playoff contributor yet. So while losing both players would hurt, the upgrade in athletic ability and two-way potential that Kuminga represents could be worth the sacrifice. Think about the practical implications of adding Kuminga to this roster. The Lakers have struggled at times with pace and energy, especially when LeBron sits. They need someone who can keep the tempo up, who can create easy baskets through sheer effort and athleticism. Kuminga does that. The Lakers have needed a switchable defender who can guard multiple positions without getting exploited. Kuminga can do that. The Lakers have needed a young player with star potential who could grow alongside this core while contributing immediately. Kuminga fits that profile perfectly. And here's something else to consider that often gets overlooked in trade discussions. Kuminga is only 23 years old. He's not a finished product. He's still developing, still learning, still adding skills to his game. The Lakers would be acquiring a player with significant upside, someone who could get better throughout the season and into the playoffs as he adjusts to his new role and new teammates. That's incredibly valuable for a team that needs not just immediate help but also long-term sustainability. The fit makes sense from multiple angles. Defensively, Kuminga gives the Lakers another versatile option to throw at opposing wings and forwards. He has the lateral quickness to stay with smaller players and the strength to battle bigger ones. Offensively, he thrives in transition and can finish around the rim, which complements what LeBron does best. He doesn't need the ball in his hands to be effective, which means he won't clash with the team's primary playmakers. And perhaps most importantly, he brings an energy and intensity that could be infectious for the entire roster. Now, I want to address the elephant in the room, because I know some of you are thinking it. Kuminga isn't a proven commodity like Barrett. His track record is shorter, his consistency is more questionable, and there's definitely more risk involved in acquiring him, but that risk comes with potentially higher reward. Barrett is who he is at this point, a very good player with established strengths and limitations. Kuminga still has the potential to become something more, to develop into an elite two-way wing that every championship team needs. And let's be honest about the Lakers' situation. They're not in a position where they need to play it safe. They need to swing for the fences because their championship window with LeBron is finite. Every season matters, every opportunity to upgrade matters, and sometimes the riskier move is actually the smarter one. If Kuminga comes to LA and unlocks his full potential playing alongside LeBron and AD, the Lakers suddenly look like a completely different team. They become deeper, more athletic, more versatile, and more dangerous. The trade deadline is approaching fast, and decisions need to be made. The Lakers can't afford to stand pat and hope their current roster is good enough. It's not when you look at the depth and talent on teams like Denver or Phoenix. They need to be aggressive, they need to take calculated risks, and they need to prioritize upside over safety. Acquiring Kuminga fits all those criteria. It's a move that says we believe in player development, we believe in our coaching staff's ability to maximize talent, and we believe in our stars' ability to elevate the players around them. I'm actually getting excited thinking about the possibilities here. Imagine a closing lineup with LeBron, AD, Kuminga, plus 2 shooters. You'd have 3 guys who can defend multiple positions, 3 guys who can attack the rim and finish through contact, and enough shooting to keep defenses honest. That's a legitimate championship caliber unit that could compete with anyone in a playoff series. The versatility would be incredible, the matchup problems you could create would be endless, and the defensive potential would be elite. Before we wrap this up, I want to hear from you because this is a massive decision that will define the Lakers' season. Drop a comment below and tell me your thoughts. Would you rather have RJ Barrett, the proven commodity who's having an excellent season, or are you more excited about the upside and athletic potential that Jonathan Kuminga brings? Do you trust the Lakers to make the right move here, or are you worried they're going to miss out on both targets? I read every comment, and I genuinely want to know how Lakers Nation feels about these potential moves. Looking at this situation objectively, missing out on Barrett might have been a blessing in disguise. It forced the Lakers to explore other options, and Kuminga represents exactly the type of high-upside talent that could transform this roster. He brings athleticism, defensive versatility, and offensive potential that perfectly complement what LeBron and AD do. The trade would cost significant assets in Hachimura and Necht, but when you're chasing championship number 18, you have to be willing to pay the price. The February 5th deadline is coming fast, and I expect the Lakers to be aggressive in pursuing this deal. If you want to stay updated on every development, every trade discussion, every breaking move the Lakers make, you need to subscribe to Lakers News Fan Report right now. Hit that notification bell because I'm posting daily updates as we approach this crucial deadline, and you don't want to miss any of the action. This is championship season. This is when rosters get built or broken, and I'll be here every step of the way, bringing you the inside information you need. Like this video if you found it valuable. Share it with fellow Lakers fans who need to know what's happening, and I'll see you in the next update. Let's go get number 18, Lakers Nation.